Hello there, it's Brandon from Durham Integrated Growers. Today I'm going to show you how to make a basic wreath. It doesn't have to be for Christmas, it can be for any time of the year. You can decorate it however you like. You can use a couple materials, so you want the material to be quite malleable, bendy. So a good material is grapevine, which I'm going to show you. I've also used red stem dogwood, which looks very nice. It's a little harder to work with because it's not quite as bendy. You can also use willow, which looks very nice. So all three of these things grow very vigorously, so they're quite readily available. The dogwood you can cut down and the next year it grows right back up, same with the willow. And if you want to propagate it, you can even cut them, shove them in the ground in the spring, and you'll have a new plant to work with. Grapevine often chokes out trees, and sometimes you just want to get rid of it anyway, so it's a good use of the grapevine after you've pulled it out. Now, you need to use green material, because if you cut it in the spring and then try to use it say a few months after you cut it, it's not going to be green anymore, and if you try and bend it into a circle, it will snap. So you need fresh material. You probably want some pruners, a little bit of wire. You don't need too much. You can do it without wire, you don't necessarily need wire, but it holds it all in place so that if you're moving it around, the piece doesn't flick out or flick over there. You'll also want some of these if you want to cut your wire, but that's about it. It's pretty basic, so I'll go ahead and show you. So here I have some grapevine. This is going to be a little challenging because it's kind of long, so I'm gonna start in the middle of my vine, and I'm going to choose my circumference that I want. So that's about the size I want. It doesn't have to look nice to begin with. It will sort of round itself as you're working the material around itself. It's a little bit difficult to do inside. Red stem dogwood or willow is a little easier inside because you're working with smaller pieces. So what I'm doing, it's kind of hard to see. Hold on, let me move this back. So I'm basically weaving it inside of itself, and I'm just gonna keep twisting it around itself until I run out of material, and then I will have a basic wreath. Sometimes it will crack on you, and it just means it's a bit older wood, and that's okay. You can always do it again. At the ends, when you tuck them in, if you like, you can tie them to the main stem, so that if you're keeping the wreath for additional years, like you can keep this wreath for multiple years, because I mean, it's wood, it'll last. The bark may come off somewhat, but I mean, it like I said, it's wood. Unless it gets moldy or something starts chewing at it, it should be okay. Well, I think that is good enough for me, for my frame. So again, I'm just gonna shove that through. Probably just gonna cut that off. that's my wreath. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can shove some greenery in there. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. See how that's kind of poking out? Well, I don't love that. So what I'm gonna do is shove that in there. And I'm gonna take a bit of wire. Don't need very much. Preferably something that won't rust. So like an aluminum wire or a wire that has a plastic coating on it, because you don't really want rusty wire in your wreath. Would ruin it. So let me show you this. I'm just going to get it in there. Of course it doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, so I've got it fished through there. You can do it double, you can do it once around like I'm doing, but I don't believe it's going to break on me, so I'm okay with doing one. I'm just gonna give it a couple twists with these pliers. And then I'm just going to cut those wings off and fold that in so nobody gets caught on it. And I think I'm happy with that. So that's it. So here I have my main base done. Now I'm going to add to it. You can just do like a portion and have the grapevine showing, kind of like that. You can buy some other goodies to decorate it with. I've spray painted some juniper silver, which I really like. I also have some pine here that I've sprayed gold. So you can kind of just play with different things. I think what I will do is tuck both of the ends in, and then I will add a little bit of green at the end. So shove this in here, and then I can use some wire and put it exactly where I would like it. Next year, if the juniper or whatever greenery you put on it has gone brown or is gone dry and is all falling off, you can take it off and redecorate your wreath. And if I wanted to, I could keep going all the way around with that. But I think I'm gonna go for the grapevine look. I may put a bit of greenery in here as well. So things I've also used on wreaths is rosehip, which look very pretty. What else? You can use pine cones. Pine cones are a little harder to attach. Some people will attach them with wire. I've also seen a lot of people attach them with a glue gun. I prefer wire just because it's easy. If I want to reuse this wreath next year, it's a little bit easier for me to take the objects off if they're wired on as opposed to glued on. Sometimes it's a little tricky to find a place to put it in. And by all means, play with it. You can always take it off and reposition it if you don't like it. I think I like that. Maybe a little bit more. And I think I'm happy with that. This is another wreath I've done. I used juniper and fir, and I covered the grapevine completely. Again, it just depends what look you're going for. You could add some pine cones in here. You could add some little berries if you like. You could put a bow on it. I like to go for the natural look of things that I can find in nature. Or there's this one. You can see I've used some juniper berries here with some fir, and again, you get the grapevine look as well.